Hey, 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 welcome to another Gravel on the Ground. We're going to get real on this one. I'm just going to say it like it is. And we're talking about the difference between living in the United States. I live in California on the coast, certainly one of the most beautiful areas in the entire world. I am absolutely blessed. But it comes at a cost, a huge cost. And there are things, what was that? I don't know what that was. There are things in Albania that are absolutely difficult as well, but far less difficult for a Westerner, for an American. And we're very blessed that way. It's lucky for us that we're able to make a better living here. But hey, let's be real. We spend all of it. Most every American has no savings or very little, living paycheck to paycheck because everything is ridiculously expensive. Like ridiculous. And as I've said many times in my videos, I spend more money eating breakfast in the United States than it costs me for my accommodations in Albania or Thailand or somewhere else like that. I've traveled all over the world, and I typically go away for the winter because, hey, it's no fun being here anyway. And if I don't have rent to spend here, I live like a king. I mean, I can just do whatever I want in a lot of other countries. And frankly, the United States isn't, I'm going to say this in general, and Western countries are not very friendly the way that they once were. I mean, when I was younger, we looked at Canada. The Canadians were some of the nicest people in the world. I'm sure there's still a lot of nice people there, but the general feel for a lot of the Canadian cities has changed so much in my lifetime as it has here in the United States. You know, I'm going to go over the costs real quick, and then I'm going to go over just the things that have changed that make the West nearly unlivable now, in my opinion. And of course, one of them is the cost of living, but it's also what you get for that money. Like, what is around you? Who are you surrounded with? Loneliness, things like that. This is broken. It is broken here. And for anybody thinking about traveling, please, please just do it. Go to Albania. You probably never even heard of it. Go to Thailand, somewhere in Southeast Asia, Philippines, somewhere, so you can see what life is actually really like again. So that when you come back, you'll get just how broken it is here. It's hard to recognize, it's that frog in the hot water kind of thing, is where you just get used to it. You don't realize it. So my apartment. Now, I try to live my life around the fact that I want to travel. So I try and live pretty light when I'm here in the United States. But even so, you're looking at my office. I do woodworking. I have a laser back there. This is my bedroom. I have about 130 square foot place. That's like, I think like less than 14 square meter spot. And it is, after expenses, it is about $2,000 a month. Now, a lot of you are watching this from Albania or some other country, and you're thinking, are you serious? Like, for $100, I can get a place that big, $200, right? And this is real. And I'm not right next to the beach. I'm 13 minutes away. I'm fairly close to downtown, but I've got, literally 20 feet away from me is where the homeless people sleep and throw the trash around. And it's unreal. And in fact, here, I brought up a picture here of my apartment before I furnished it. Now it has all kinds of great things. I really built it out well for me to use while I'm in the United States. But it's actually absolutely incredible. Now I can show you, a small video or pictures of my place on the sea in Albania. I paid $600 a month plus, $20 a month for 100 megabits internet. So I have the same internet there as I had here. So $620 total is what I was paying there for a two-bedroom apartment where every single room, including the bathroom, had a view of the sea. And you see, just it's insane what the difference is. It's literally insane. So if you're spending this kind of money, and not only that, your food is more expensive, your entertainment is more expensive, getting around, everything is just more expensive here. And then the taxes you have to pay, it's like 12% on 10, 12% on everything here, not to mention the income tax and all the other taxes. It's it's just difficult. And when you go to other countries, and again, I've my latest trip was Albania, but I've spent a lot of time in Panama and Thailand and Costa Rica, Central America, Peru, uh, and then all through Europe, Ireland, Scotland, England, every place. In all of those countries, it was easier to live than here. And it was also more friendly than here. Now, some of the Eastern European countries maybe not quite as friendly until you get to know them. But in general, most countries are friendlier and easier to live than here. And then we get into this loneliness epidemic. What's happening? When I grew up, it was just it was very friendly here. And it was super easy to make friends. And as I said in the last video, I had the maximum amount of friends that you can have. It would be impossible to have any more just because you don't have that much time. And it was a great group, and everybody hugged each other when they saw each other. And it was just a very great way to spend your time. And I've watched over the past 20 years how everybody has been separated by politics and race and religion and how you feel about the establishment and just everything that you can think of is something that divides people. And it just always seems to come up, right? One of the main divisions here is between Roe versus Wade or, abortion or not. Regardless of how you feel about that, the country is roughly 50% divided on that. And then you have, the different wars, and the people in that, or people are divided on that. And then Trump versus Kamala or whatever the latest thing is. It's just da 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 da. Everybody is divided. And so you see even these really great friends that over time, it just becomes very strained, and the families become very strained. There are so many things we're told that are just so not true about other countries. The religion in Albania, some people will say it's this, it's that. It's not. It's Albanian, period. There is everything you can think of there, every kind of church, and nobody cares. I've never seen anybody care. Never seen any violence there. Now, yes, there are some absolute real hard people over there, and I would not mess with them. That is one of the interesting things about it. Everywhere I go in the world, I feel like when I walk into a room, at least the majority of the guys I think I could at least, put up a fight with. And not so there, man. Every time I walk into a room, I'm the weakest person in the room, and I know it. That's for sure. But, in general, just the most friendly, warmest people when you get to know them. The kind of people, I made a video, my New Year's video, where we didn't have any water and nothing was open. And so we opened this door and there was a group of people and we're like, hey, can we get a water? And they just invited us in, and we ended up spending New Year's with them and having the best time. And it was amazing. And that would just not happen in most other places where they just take in these strangers and just make them part. And they were done eating, and one of the people went in the back and just made us food. It was, it's just mind blowing what a different way things work in a lot of different countries than here. And crazy thing that we're having, in a Western country, a lot of Western countries, this loneliness epidemic. Like, listen to this.
Do you ever get lonely?
Yeah, I think everyone gets lonely.
That's almost like a daily struggle.
I often feel very lonely in the city.
What does it feel like?
It feels like being lost, like in a maze.
With no hand reaching out to you, and you just don't really feel like climbing back out, or you just can't climb back out.
It feels like that feeling of like you're about to cry, but you just don't need to.
I live in a studio apartment,
So it may be hard for a lot of people in other countries to even fathom that people are so lonely and depressed in a lot of these Western cities. And even you see here, Australians are taking antidepressants at record numbers. I thought it was only the United States. But then I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, hey, it's so much, and especially with women. Now they're saying more women than ever on antidepressants. Over 20% of U.S. women are taking antidepressants. Can you in other countries, a lot of my viewers in Albania, again, because this is where I started the channel, can you even fathom that 20%, 1 out of 5 women are taking antidepressants because they're depressed? And it's almost unbelievable. And this is only going to keep going up and keep going up because we are so divided, and it makes it so difficult. And so this call is not only to kind of help Albanians understand that although life is very difficult in your country, or maybe you're watching from Thailand or Vietnam or the Philippines or South America, you may realize that, yes, life in your country is extremely difficult. And I do not put that lightly. I know that a lot of you work really hard hours, really long hours for very little pay. It is hard to live. And we have it very good in Western countries. But I also want you to understand that it isn't all that it's cracked up to be the way that it was maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago. That there are starting to be a lot better options, in my opinion, overseas. Of course, all of this is going to be my opinion. I'm looking at this through my lens. Having lived here my whole life and traveled a lot of the world, and I'm going to be wrong about some things, but overall, I just kind of wanted to get that message out there for everybody from all sides to understand that if you're living in a Western country and you don't feel good and you feel lonely, and you could travel. If you could just find a way and travel, go to an Albania, go to a Thailand, just go and see what it's like to live in a different country and try and stay there for at least a month and just get to know the locals and see all of the smiles and the life, and remind yourself of what a family is and what life is like, living it in a way that people did maybe 20 years ago, or a lot more connection. Every day I'm just, trying to do my best to save and build my business so that I can spend this winter traveling again and getting that feeling that I get when I travel. A lot of people feel that way. And I realize, like I said, again, I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky. But as lucky as we are, if we don't take advantage of that, then we're not really that lucky, right? So if you're just sitting at home or working, 5 days a week and then getting wasted on the weekend and rinse and repeat and not really getting anywhere and you don't feel really great, I'm just saying, hey, give it a shot. Figure out a way. Get out of here for a while. Reset. Educate yourself on what it is to live. And I want to, again, appreciate people from all of the countries that I have visited about just how much that they have taught me. When you go to, say, I was in Panama, and you see that, you know, there's a bunch of kids. They have one ball. You could tell they don't have a lot of stuff, but they're laughing and they're smiling and they're having the best time together. And then you go home and you rarely ever see that. And they have everything. So it's an education. It's a simplistic way of saying all this. I realize it's not 100% of any of this, but I'm really just trying to motivate people to get out of this feeling. And I want to also tell people that are living in the other countries that, hey, you know what? Grass isn't always that much greener on the other side. But, you know, I wish the best for everybody. And I hope that at least you take away something from this video. And I will see you all in the next one. Looking forward to getting back to travel. Love y'all.